Hello, everyone. It is me, Hex, and as I promised, I returned. And I will say, sorry, I lied. This will be two of the ideas I gave to you guys combined, because I thought that would be fun. If you guys are mad, go ahead and comment. Oh no, help me in the long way. Anyway, this meshing of ideas is going to be what if Deku was quirkless, and what if Deku had Jarvis. I will tell you what changed or what disturbs the. What if Deku was quirkless? Would have had him create his own tech. What if Deku had or has Jarvis, which Jarvis, as in Iron Man's old companion, we could say, will be a shit ton of lore and might be more interesting for those of you who get bored easily. That is why I did this. Okay. So, you've seen what he looks like, but just imagine him in his school clothes. As he walks to school, like every day, or like every day. But as he's walking to school, he hears a ruckus, we could say. A loud noise from in front of him, and he sees a crowd gathering as he rushes through, squeezing himself through each gap he can find until he gets to the edge of the crowd. He stares up at what seems to be a villain and a hero fight. A match between Tangly Woods and what seems to be a villain with the gigantification quirk. He immediately starts pulling out his notebook and starts scribbling notes on both the quirk of the enemy and the quirk of the hero. A man to his right says, "Hey, you, kid." He looks to his right. "Are you a fanboy?" Izuku, a little confused, shakes and nods his head, basically saying yes and no. He says, do you want to become a hero when you grow up?" Izuku nods viciously as he says, "Yes, I've always wanted to be a hero." The man with an interested tone in his voice asks, "So, what's your quirk?" Izuku gets saddened at this as he looks down and says, "I don't have one." The man laughs for a second and says, that dream of yours might be crushed sooner than later, but I'm not gonna crush it for you. Later." And he walks off. Zuka's been told this 1,000 times. He's not given up on his dream, but he has less expectations. He knows if he does become a hero, he will not be number one, is what he thinks. But no one can tell fate. As he's walking through the streets after the fight, he saw at the very end of the fight, he saw a woman with another gigantification quirk, known as Mount Lady, jump over the highway that the Tangly Woods and the gigantification man were fighting on. She high kicked him in the temple. As the man fell, he shrunk and hit the ground, a defeated villain. As Mount Lady was more than pleased and happy to get all the attention, she did a pose, one I will not replicate on YouTube. Then, Izuku, not being interested with the situation any longer, although he is still a teenager, we don't talk about that, he walks off, heading to school. This is the last day of school, so he wants to make it count. And I will inform you, this life has gone exactly the same as canon. He grew up without a quirk, was friends with Bakugo until he tried to help him out of a river. Bakugo yelled and said he didn't need his help, and then started bullying Deku, calling him soft and other things, weak and unneeded. Izuku, up till, today, had dealt with it, but Izuku has a plan. He knows how to get back at Kachan, as he calls him. But as he's walking to school, a shimmer, not quite what you would suspect from a shimmer, but more of a beam of light hitting off something metal or shiny, hits his eyes as he immediately turns and follows it into a path that leads into the woods. He thinks that he's only a block away from school, so it won't take too long if he finds out what the hell that was. Walking through the woods for maybe 5-10 minutes, he finds a hatch overgrown with vines, plants, even poison ivy, which he hates poison ivy, as most do. But he, no matter what, wants to see what this is holding. As he rushes through, he pulls a pocket knife that he had. No, he was not planning to use that on Bakugo. Stop. He's a boy. He likes knives. He starts cutting the vines off of the basically hatch down. Once he's cleared it, it takes about 5 minutes to clear it. He knows instinctually he has about 20 minutes before class. But he no longer really cares. He knows he's the top of his class in mental ability, at least. So he heads down the hatch. As he looks around, it's dark and dusty. He feels less than enthusiastic about being down in this place already. He coughs up some of the dust floating in the air as he steps into a puddle. He groans and sighs at the same time. This is disgusting. He walks further in because his curiosity is getting the better of him, and he trips on what seems to be a wire. And him, thinking that it was some sort of booby trap, held his hands over the back of his head, hoping not to be damaged. As he heard doot 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 doot. Hello, who are you? Where is Stark? He looks around to see the being talking to him, but doesn't see any humans. Then he notices a small speaker out of the wall. What's happening here? The voice from the speaker says, "That is what I'm asking you. Please, respond." Izuku shakes his head and nods at the same time. I'm Izuku Midoriya. I came down to see what this place was. I saw a light flicker, and I wanted to know what happened. Jarvis, as we know him, introduces himself. Oh, welcome, Izuku. I am Jarvis. Do you know of my master, Stark? Izuku puts his hand to his chin as he thinks. Stark. Oh. Oh. Do you mean Iron Man? Jarvis takes a few seconds to think and then says, Yes, yes, I do believe that was his name. Izuku nods and says, He died a long time ago, before I was even born. Maybe 20 years ago? Jarvis hums in sort of a sad way. Izuku says, But he died doing what he loved, fighting the villains. He says sort of randomly, not really knowing where it came from. And Jarvis audibly cheers up as he says, Ah, how did he die? He took a villain named Supersize down. This villain could turn himself to the size of a skyscraper. Horrifying. But Iron Man, the hero, saved the day. I'm pretty sure if you knew him... Wait, Jarvis, who are you? Jarvis thinks a second. I am an artificial intelligence he created on another world. Izuku audibly gasps as he says, What? Jarvis says, Stark, or Robert, was not from this world. No, Tony. Tony Stark? Yeah. Sorry, my mind is not in the right place. Tony Stark was not from this world. He came from another one. He was fighting a villain, and got lost in space. He floated for a long time until he hit a black hole, sending him here. Izuku's wrapped in thinking as he says, That's impossible. No one survives a black hole. We don't even know what a black hole does. We did where we came from, or at least we did then when it happened. Oh, okay. Jarvis says, well, if he is dead, I have no one to serve. Izuku says, yeah, it's a bit of a shame. But as he says this, he presses a switch which turns on the lights. And he sees a bunker like none he ever has, with different weapons assorted around the walls, but dead center in the back of the room, the thing that truly draws his attention. Suits. Iron Man suits. New, old, and evolved. Nanotech, Mark 1 through 6, rebuilt, and a lot more. He rushes forward to study the tech when Jarvis says, What are you doing? He seems to be a little malfunctional, too erotic. Not erotic. Erratic. There we go. His voice is changing. The lights are flickering. He is mad. Sorry, I was just going to take some notes on the suits. Jarvis calms down as he says, yes, do. And Izuku starts ranting about tech. That starts a conversation with Jarvis. A 5-minute long conversation about how quantum particles should be able to make nanotech work perfectly, which before Tony and Jarvis had the same conversation. When Jarvis heard this, he felt, by the way, yes, Jarvis is fully sentient, so he does have emotions. He felt happy at this conversation, so he decided to make a decision without telling Izuku. A small bug, not small enough to be extremely hidden, flies into Izuku's pocket. All we see is green and red. The bug latches itself to the inside of his pocket, and then he goes to school, almost catching the bug when it starts wiggling around through his shirt to get up to his collar. But he doesn't. When he gets to school, he sits in class just barely on time and waits for the teacher to enter. The teacher does, and as he pulls out these papers from his desk, he looks at everyone and says, well, today is the hero Jesus Christ. Today is where you apply to high schools. Work apprehension test. Yes, there we go. Career apprehension test. It's been a long time since I've done one of these. He says, alright, everyone sign up for what you're gonna do, and he passes them out. This is a different teacher than in canon, because I kinda need it to be for the story. Don't mind. He stands back at the front of the class and waits for everyone to write their stuff. Admittedly, most chose the hero course. Alright, when everyone is done, pass it to the person in front of you in lines, and then the people at the end of the lines will bring it to me. People did, and he started writing checks and X's on places that he estimated people could and couldn't go. He nodded, and then he went to Izuku's. We have 2 people signing up for UA, he says in a cheerful voice. Everyone's like, oh, I wonder who. But most people would guess Bakugo is at least one of them. And he says, Bakugo Katsuki, which is really Katsuki Bakugo. He nods his head as he says, yeah, where else did you expect me to go? The teacher just doesn't respond. Tired of Bakugo's shit. And Izuku Midoriya. Everyone immediately turns as they look, just on the edge of laughing, as Bakugo gets immediately pissed, and he stands up so fast that his chair gets knocked out behind him, hitting the desk behind him. He walks over to Izuku's desk as he holds his hand up ready to explode the desk. "Don't you even dare!" And as he is about to explode his desk, the teacher snaps his fingers, and sound waves emit from the force as Bakugo is forced to sit back down by his command word. "Sit, Bakugo." Bakugo does as he is commanded, which to you guys is very strange, but to the class is what they guessed would happen. The teacher's quirk, command word. He can say 1 to 2 words in a command. Any of those he targets have to follow, but the downside is it's only 1 or 2 words. Perfect for being a teacher, because he can say calm down, sit down, shut up, listen, things like that. Bakugo just starts glaring at Izuku. Izuku can as much as feel the glare from behind him. At the end of class, everyone walks out except for Bakugo, 2 of his goons, and Izuku. Izuku is putting his notebook into his bag when Bakugo reaches for it, about to grab it, and Izuku pulls away, scared. Bakugo says, "You're gonna give it to me now, twerp." Izuku says, "No." As Bakugo is about to explode his face, Jarvis says, "No." As a suit of red and yellow, as we know it, forms around Izuku, a perfect copy of Iron Man. From his nanotech. As the blow hits the face mask, barely anything happens, just a singe at most. And then it's over as he raises his hand, extends his palm, and then boom! Bakugo is blown across the room as he hits the teacher's desk and papers go flying. There's a bit of a shockwave as the other 2 goons, their hair gets blown away as they quickly run out of the classroom in fear. Izuku's looking at his hand as he sees a HUD pop up. "Welcome, Izuku Midoriya, to the Iron Man Mark 121. Izuku is marveling let's say the details of the suit, the intricacy of each and every single one of the lines that are formed, and how it moves so smoothly without having any creases needed. When Bakugo stands up, he is enraged out of fear. He starts running towards Bakugo. Bakugo runs towards Bakugo. Bakugo runs towards Izuku. As he's readying to blow the kid's face up again, Izuku just holds out his hand, and right before Jarvis does the kill command, says, "No!" and waves his hand away. This results in a blast hitting the face of the suit, blowing it backwards as him and his chair get flown backwards. Izuku in suit and chair hitting ground rolls over backwards as he hits the wall in pain. He feels as if his eyes are burnt, but they're not. He just got a little blinded from the light, and the face mask is a little broken, which surprises Jarvis. "This is a strong one. Should I finish him?" "No, he's a classmate. Don't kill him." Izuku stands up and looks at Bakugo and says, "Stop it, Kacchan. Whatever you're doing, stop it. You too, Jarvis, he mutters to his suit. Bakugo seems enraged. You have a quirk? Izuku looks at his suit and realizes it barely looks like technology. Yeah. He realizes if he lies, he could become a target, because this suit can go to anyone. He thinks it can go to anyone. Why'd you hide it from me all this time, weakling? Izuku says. I only recently discovered it. Yeah, right. He walks out, still pissed. Izuku, notebook in hand, calmly says, Jarvis, what just happened? And they have a discussion. One we will not copy, but I will give you the overlay. Basically, Izuku's wondering what the hell this suit is. Jarvis explains it's Mach 121. A mark I don't think is actually in the Marvel Universe. If it is, I'm sorry, but this is not it, really. But anyway. Izuku stands and says, Okay, you help me. I'm gonna have to ask you a few more questions, but I'm gonna go back to the bunker. Jarvis confirms. As they do, Izuku's on his way home, or to the bunker, when he is attacked in the alley. Well, not alley, under the bridge. A giant rush of force hits his back as he's walking into the bridge talking to what seems to be himself. He hears a voice say, You'll make a great flesh suit. Don't put up too much of a fight. As he is pushed forward, right before the sludge enters his mouth, the suit activates as the particles emit and the nanobots start surrounding him in a perfect suit. Izuku realizes that he is trapped within the slime, or sludge villain, and he says to Jarvis, What is happening? We are being attacked, compromised. This villain is trying to get into the suit. He's failing, but not for long. Do I have permission for the kill shot? Izuku says, Not yet. Can we escape any other way? I'm not sure what he can take. He is sludge. What you think is possible? He hears his gauntlet power up as a and suddenly a force thrusts him forward as his arms and legs start emitting this jet. He realizes he is flying as he flies out of the sludge, leaving burnt trails of whatever that is. As he quickly hovers a few feet away from the bridge, the sludge villain is trying to see what the hell just happened. Then he looks up and sees Izuku's form. Damn it, you do have a quirk. Then the sludge villain is rushing towards him again. Izuku just dodges upward, thinking that would be the end of it. But it is not, as the sludge seems to deny gravity as it slithers up the side of the bridge, launching itself towards him. Izuku doesn't know how this is possible, but he hears Jarvis say, Last time, do I have permission for the kill shot? Izuku, right before saying yes, sees a figure pop out of the crate. Then, realizing that it's quite a large form, flies a little bit higher right before the sludge grabs his heel, which is still propelling jet fuel. As it pulls him down, it's being burned itself. They both collapse to the ground as All Might just claps his hand, not seeing Izuku. Both of them being blasted back, Izuku rolling head over tail, basically, hitting a bush and then being stuck in it for a while. Ow. Jarvis? Am I alive? He asks questioningly. With a serious and pained tone, Jarvis says, Yes, obviously, you can still speak. He shakes his head. I don't feel alive. Well, that is because you were just blown away by the strongest hero on Earth at the moment. He nods his head. Very true. He stands up, bringing himself to full height as he looks at his idol, All Might. He runs forward as he tells Jarvis, "Deactivate the suit! Deactivate the suit!" The suit starts deteriorating into the bug on his collar. As he runs over to All Might is just about finished scooping the villain up. "Ah, a young one. What is your name?" Izuku, holding his book out, says, I am Izuku Midoriya. Could you sign my notebook?" He nods his head and flips through a page that is empty and then signs. "Oh. Whatever you did, young Midoriya, he seems to be damaged." Izuku shyly says, I don't know what happened." Right. He says, "Well, I'm short on time. I gotta be going." And he jumps away. Izuku, about to follow, realizes he still needs to do something. He still wants to go to UA. Now he has something that can bring him there. He's more occupied with that than talking to his idol. He rushes forward as he goes as fast as he can to the underground bunker. When Izuku gets there, he throws the hatch open, jumps down as he closes it, and lands, and then runs towards the opening. And getting there, he sees the lights are already turned on by Jarvis as he says, "Alright, that discussion we had? Do you think it's possible?" Jarvis says, "Oh, quite easily." Izuku smiles, telling the future. Alright, that will be it for this episode, guys. If you enjoyed, leave a like and a comment down below. If not, well, I'll assume you liked it. If you want more, like and comment as I said before, and I'll see you next time.